So the budget is really sort of your checking account. The other piece of it, fortunately, is what you call fund balance. It's your savings account. And lots of times when we talk about the budget, we don't talk about fund balance. But I'd like to talk about fund balance because it's very important to the long-term financial sustainability of the city. So it's a little difficult to see because I think you can make out the blue and the green. So if you add those two sort of mountain ranges together, that's all the money that the general fund has in the bank. The lower mountain range, the green, is the amount that we've said this is what we're going to reserve. Under no circumstances, barring an emergency, are we ever going to spend into the green. That's for all of us, we say have 6 months worth of money in the bank, so that's sort of our 6 months worth of money. The blue up above it is money we have over and above what our reserve policy calls for. It's good to have money over and above in case something happens, because as you see, and as I'll explain, something did happen and something will happen again. So before the recession, in 2008, we had about $47–48 million in the general fund reserve. And then the recession came along, and in addition to all the cuts that we had to make, we burned up a lot of our savings to offset the service impacts of the recession. So you can see that it dips down. We never go below our threshold amount, which is that green line, but we pretty much got there. And then fortunately, over the last few years, a lot of it is due to just one-time monies. When the governor eliminated redevelopment, which was not good for us, we did get some money back and we put that into our reserve. We've been able to build the reserve back a little bit. And in fact, around 2015, the city council decided to increase the reserve level from 10%. Now we're seeking to make 20% our reserve target. So you can see the green mountain range moves up a little bit as well. And you can see right now, 2015, 2016, all told, we have about $55 million. So our reserve target would be $47 million. So what we could do today is say, boom, we have that money, that's our reserve, it's all good. We would only have a little bit of the blue up above that. The problem is, when you look to the right, based on our current projections, which I'm going to get into in a minute, we start to create sort of a black diamond run. It's going the wrong way because we're spending more than we're bringing in. And I'll get back to that in a minute. But here's a snapshot of where the money goes. That big, long bar is the police department. That's $71 million. The next big bar is the fire department. There's the fire chief. Almost $44 million. So public safety, not surprisingly, comprises the largest percentage expenditures of the general fund. The other big bar there, it says non-departmental. Most of that is debt service. The city of Pasadena is leveraged pretty good. We have a fair amount of debt, and that takes the lion's share of that. Also what's in there is the amount of the hotel tax that we transfer over to the convention center. More on that later. And then you can see everyone else kind of floats around $22 million for public works, $10 million for human services. Our contribution to the library is $10 million. In addition to that, the library has its own fund that adds $2 to $3 million. So our total library budget is $14 million. And we do have the best library system in the state, owing much to June. But just for comparison, the city of Glendale, which is 40% larger by population, 40% larger, has a total library budget of $8 million. So we spend a lot, and we have a great system for it. These things cost money. So here's a graphic representation of our expenses and revenues going back to 2006. So even before the recession, we started to spend more than we were bringing in. And then the bottom dropped out with the recession, and it really exacerbated the problem. And we had to make significant cuts in addition to burning up about that $25 million of our fund balance. And you can see around fiscal year 12, 13, we sort of brought things back into balance. We were making more money than we were spending. That's a good thing, even for the government. But now, around fiscal 17, we're at this crossover point again. where we're going to be spending more than we're bringing in. And that creates, you see that widening gap going out to the right, which you would call a structural deficit. We can't have that, and that's what we have to solve for. So here's really just another illustration of that chart for people who like numbers versus graphics. It's a little hard to make out, but you can see for the FY18 forecast, we're projecting net income loss of about $3.6 million. When we adopted the budget, that number was in the upper $5 million range. But in October, the City Council cut $2.1 million out of the general fund. And so that helps, but you can see our problem just gets worse going forward. One of the big drivers, not the only driver, but one of the big drivers that's been getting a lot of attention lately is the cost of city employees. We have a very generous pension system. CalPERS is the system that most cities in California contract with to provide pension benefits for their employees. And they have a very large unfunded liability. Because CalPERS anticipates it's going to earn a certain amount every year, they haven't done so well. So the city's current unfunded liability to CalPERS is $388 million. Now our general fund budget is only $237. So the liability to the pension system now is about 1.5 times our general fund budget. And the 388 number was what it was before CalPERS only earned 0.61% last year. So that number is going to go up. That very poor earnings number wasn't in the 388. So they haven't done so well. And another thing they've been trying to do is reduce volatility. So one way you reduce volatility is you pursue less risky investments. But that means your rate of return is going to come down. And every time you drop your discount rate, your rate of return, your liability balloons. So this is going to be a big problem for us. The LA Times has done a very good series on pensions, and you're going to start seeing cities in California literally having to reduce services just to make the pension payments. Pasadena's in better shape than a lot of other cities, but this is a big deal. And a number of years ago, the governor got through some changes, and that's why I kind of call this the Stegosaurus graph. You see, out about 20 years, the numbers come down. So we don't start seeing the benefit of the reforms that were approved a couple of years ago for about 20 more years. Now, about 21% of our workforce now are under the new system, which is a less generous system. But it's a very big nut to crack until then. And so PERS is charging all the cities so they can improve their funding ratio. So, budget is easy. I enjoyed being the budget administrator for a number of years. There's revenues and there's expenses. That's pretty much all you got to know. I got a B in the budget class when I got my master's. That was my lowest grade. And so on the revenue side, what we've done is earlier you saw that little chart that said non-departmental, and I mentioned that that's part of the expense there is we give money to the convention center. The city used to provide about 75 to 80% of all the transient occupancy tax, the hotel tax, we would provide that to the convention center. And it had no cap. And so in a minute I'm going to talk about some development that's going on, but I'm sure you've noticed we built some new hotels here. So one of the very first things I did with the city council, maybe the interim city manager, is I worked with the conference center to insert a cap on the amount of money that they receive from hotels. And now, once they get to that cap, they don't get any more in that year, and the general fund will keep the rest. So that's going to help us with our revenues. Also, some normal things the government does, you take a look at your cost of services, you do a study, you make sure that your fees are recapturing your costs. Also, we need to make sure that the services the general fund provides, non-general fund departments, that we're properly charging them. That's the cost allocation study. We need to explore other opportunities for revenue recovery. Our chief, don't blame me, blame the chief, but he said when we roll to the scene of an auto accident, we may treat someone, but we haven't been billing their auto insurance. So now he's going to bill their auto insurance. You can thank him. We need to explore other revenue measures. We're currently grappling with what to do about marijuana regulation in town. A number of cities have passed special taxes associated with marijuana regulations. I'm sure that we will allow dispensaries in some way, shape, or form in town. Once we have the regime set up, we may want to consider a special tax to generate revenue to help the general fund and also pay for some of the services that are likely to be called to deal with some of the more negative effects of marijuana in a community. On the expense side, as I mentioned, in October, the City Council cut a little over $2 million. We cut vacant positions because, frankly, those are the easiest ones to cut. It's not easy to cut positions in the city. When I was in the health department, I eliminated 41 positions because we could no longer sustain our clinical programs. In the end, we only laid off about 5 people because we were able to find other jobs for folks. Some of them went to work for the nonprofits that took over our clinical programs, and some people went on their own. It's not easy. City employees were sort of sticky on the way down. But we're going to need to make more reductions. I've committed to the City Council that I'll submit them a budget in May that has positive net income, that does not rely on draining our savings to balance the budget. It's not going to be easy. And it's likely to result in some service reductions. Over the years, we like to try to play the game that we can cut stuff and no one will ever see its effect. But what we learned through the embezzlement experience a few years ago is if you don't have enough people managing the work, segregation of duties, people watching what's going on, you're prone to problems. And we've thinned out a lot of our admin support functions to the point that they're not working optimally. So the notion that you can reduce something and not have an effect is illusory at this point. And we've made a lot of prior reductions because of the recession. So people are going to start seeing us, if we eliminate a service, someone will probably notice. And everything we do has a constituency, I guarantee you that. We're trying to be methodical in the process. We have some consultants working with us now to look at some of the various programs we offer. Can they be made to be revenue neutral? Should we keep the program? Some things in government, you start something 20 years ago and then you just never stop it. So maybe we got to think about stopping some of the things we're doing. So we're working through some of that. And we're just going to need to sort of adjust along the way. I invite you all to stay tuned. We did have 3 community budget meetings because we wanted to get input from people. And I'm sad to say that of all 3, we had maybe 15 people show up. Folks aren't terribly engaged in the budget process until it's in front of the council and the thing that they like is in jeopardy. We really do want to hear from people early on, and I would encourage you to contact me with your thoughts. I hate talking about the budget because it's too down. So let's talk about some things that are maybe a little more upbeat. Let's talk about development in the city. Let me jump back here. As I mentioned, hotels are a big deal. One, because the TOT revenue that they generate, and just there's tremendous interest. There's a Colorado Hill project, which is entitled 375 rooms there. Lake and Union, there's a proposal to build about 130-room hotel there with some condos. If you like Del Taco, you better get over there now while you can. At the Paseo, on the south side of Green and Los Robles, there's a Hyatt Place that's eagerly awaited. In a moment, I have another slide that will show you what's happening on the Colorado frontage. The Kimpton Hotel would also be part of the rehabilitation of the Julie Morgan YWCA building right in our Civic Center. And the Duzit D2 as in their phase 2. We're fortunate to have a lot of academic and institutions. In Pasadena, the HMRI lab, the Shriners Medical Center will be opening soon. The Art Center College of Design is a very exciting project down by the city's power plant, really the gateway to the city, and the Kaiser Permanente School of Medicine on Los Robles and Green on the east side of the street. In terms of office, Lincoln Parsons block is the single largest development in the city, nearly 1 million square feet of office, residential, some mixed-use activity. Charles Company has, at this time, it's a medical office use across from Brick Cafe. Eisenberg building is a very interesting looking building on Walnut, just east of Fair Oaks. We have a number of co-working locations in the city. You might have seen the big WeWork sign, maybe some red, white, up there on the former AT&T building. And KPCC is contemplating an expansion, and that's been a very nice use where they are. And again, Lincoln Properties, as I mentioned, was in addition to office, it would have some residential and some retail. This graphic is the frontage of Fair Oaks. And then we've had a number of infill housing projects, mostly condominiums scattered throughout the city. Here's 25 West Walnut. This thing's so big, it's kind of going off my slide. But it's 200 apartments north of Parsons. And then on the flip side of the Hyatt Place on the north end, Colorado, and Los Robles is condominiums going in at the east end of the city. So how is it being the city manager? I got more hair than that guy. And I really like it. It's great. And working for the city for so many years, one, I think you sort of need to do that to understand the environment in which we operate. I was talking to Phil, and I said, I don't know how someone could walk into this complicated city and deal with it. I'm fortunate that we have great staff, we have a great council, we have good commissions, and this is a great city. A few priorities that I have sort of personally is I do think we need sort of a way a sports team does some rebuilding years, maybe the Lakers comes to mind here. We need to focus on our city operations a little bit, take a look at how we're doing things. I purposely avoided the word efficiency, and I really just want to say to do them a little bit better, make them a little bit better. We have a very complex development review process in town. It gets us the city that we want, but I hear from people about how difficult it is to go through that process. Sometimes city departments surprisingly don't coordinate their message well. I was in one meeting once where one department told a developer we want a 10-foot sidewalk, the other department said we want a 15-foot sidewalk. We need to be able to tell you what we want when we first meet with you. So I'm trying to focus on those process improvements so we have a better result for everybody. We need a stronger internal structure in the wake of the embezzlement and the implementation of a new financial system. We realize that a lot of our systems are not that strong. People don't know how to do things like make a purchase. And so we need to reinvest in training so everyone understands how the city works. I'd like to be systems-based and rules-based so everyone understands this is how you do something. We're a big enough city that we're into everything, but we're small enough that sometimes there's only one or two people that do the particular thing, and we need to be able to have that knowledge transfer to others. I'm trying to create some stronger bonds with employees. The recession and cutbacks and years that we couldn't give compensation didn't help morale any. So I'm trying to place greater emphasis on internal communications. That seems to be going pretty well. Again, a little more investment in the city staff, some more training opportunities. We need more depth on the bench. I've been fortunate enough to hire 3 department heads recently, 2 of whom came from within the organization. I want to be able to promote from within. It seems to have worked out for me, but we have to invest in people and give them the skill set they need to be proficient and succeed. And I want to position Pasadena for the future. Government, we're often behind the times. Whether it's what's happening with marijuana or Airbnb or other disruptive technologies, how does our UUT tax apply to the internet? We're often behind because we're not as quick and nimble as we need to be. So I'm trying to position us that way a little bit. That's me, that's it, that's all.